everyone, it's Annie here with another fun summer grapevine. This one is similar to one we posted last year. It's got some wild grass, some greenery mixed in, and then it has this very large floral bush in there as well. And what's nice about this is you just get one of these and you have everything you need. And you can find these a lot of places, but we're gonna put this one in a kit up on shopdeeslouisville.com with all the other items I use, the greenery, the ribbon. And it's just nice because it's got ferns and it's got daisies, but it's also got like some fun berry little guys and poppies, everything you need right there. But what we're gonna do to start with is use the medium-sized grapevine. This guy is 18 inches. He's our average size. We have one size smaller that's more for like a small place in your home. And then we have one size larger, but this is the best for a front door. And this is also on shopdeeslouisville.com. So a lot of you have these already and you rip the stuff off and you replace it with what we put in the kits, but you can also grab one of these on there if you need it. What I'm gonna start with is a very popular item. I love using it because it adds kind of like a wow, little bit wild, airy factor to your wreath, and it's a spider grass bush. And as you can see, it's got a lot on it. I'm gonna cut it apart, but it really just adds a nice dimension, different texture. But when you start to fluff it, there's not really much you can do for fluffing the grass, but what you can notice is there's three very, very obvious branches here that I'm gonna cut apart. So I'm gonna grab my wire cutters and I'm gonna go ahead and chop it into the three sections. So as you can see, it all comes off its one little branch. So go ahead and cut those three branches off, and you're ready to put those on first. So what I like to do is take it in my hand, kind of move it around, like push it, kind of going the opposite of the way that it's built onto the little branch. And that's the real way to fluff it out, just to give it a little bit more wildness. Take the end there, dip it in a little hot glue. This design is going to be mostly bottom heavy with two of these greenery grasses and then a little bit up at the top. So I'm going to start out on the bottom. I'm just going to go right here. It's about 8 o'clock on the wreath. Push that guy right into there. And see how fun it is. It just adds like a nice big wave of greenery kind of all over. And it's just a really pretty color too. All right, this one I'm gonna dunk it in here. I'm gonna go right about 5 o'clock, kind of in at an angle. The reason why I went lower with that one too is so I can have some that hangs down the door, which I like a lot. But as you can see, I left a nice gap in there because I'm gonna fill it in with ribbon and flowers. Just kind of open that up. All right, and I've got my third one. I'm gonna go ahead and put that on there as well. I'm gonna go right up here. It's about right at 1 o'clock. So I want to offset it from these two. So if you really look, it's kind of like here's the gap and you're going right straight up from that. And again, just do that thing where you just fluff it a little bit. But it really does have a mind of its own. So, you know, you can move it around. If some of them bother you, you can always trim them just to make them a little shorter. But I kind of like it wild like that. If you don't like that wildness though, you're just going to skip this step and create it without that. Next up, I'm going to use the bush with all the mixed stuff. And what I like to do first before anything else is cut the whole thing apart. And then I can kind of make groupings of colors that I have so I get a nice mix of pink, yellow, coral all over the wreath. So I'm going to take time and I'm going to cut these all off. Now, some of them come with 2 things of leaves. You don't have to use them all. You're going to add a little greenery to fill in at the end. And sometimes on these mixed bushes, the greenery that's on there isn't the nicest. It kind of isn't wired like I like a lot. So you don't need to make sure you get all the leaves. You're just going to make sure you leave enough that you can push that into the grapevine wreath. So take a minute and just chop all those off. There's a lot on here too, which is why it's so nice. You just buy one and you get everything you need. That one doesn't want to go. There we go. All right, and now, like I said, I'm going to take a minute and I'm going to separate it by color so I can see what I have. Let's lay it out here. Grab all my pinks first, then all my yellows. Just make yourself some little piles. And then that way when you go, I'm gonna do like all the yellow first, all the orange, you know, by color. So there's the orange, little coral guys, and then my little yellow berries. You have about 3 to 4 of each stem. So first I'm gonna start with the largest, and that is the poppies. They're pink, they're pretty. And if some of these I left a little too long, you can always cut them shorter. But what you're gonna do is just evenly disperse them wherever you kind of want to put them all over. So I'm gonna do 2 at the bottom, maybe the 2 big ones towards the bottom since it's a little bit more bottom heavy, and then I'm gonna do a couple at the top too. I'm gonna go ahead and do all the pink. So dunk them in the glue. And what you wanna do is just make sure you don't get 2 of them too close to each other. You're kind of just working around where you've put in that grass. So there, I got some pink. I'm gonna go up here, kind of off to the left a little bit. And then we'll go down here. All right, next up is yellow. So I've got 3 of those. Let's see here. I'm gonna go one kind of like up here in the middle. And if you don't, I'm going ahead and gluing and kind of moving them. But if you'd want to, you can kind of stick them in the wreath, get them wherever you want, move them around, and then do the gluing at the end. Just in case you might want to move stuff around. I'm gonna go up here with another yellow, and then I'm gonna do one up top. And I'm gonna shoot it straight up. All right, that's looking nice. Next up, I have these little orange guys. They're really cute. I'm working from largest flowers down to smaller so that I can just fill in. So the bigger ones are more of our statements, and then the little guys are just like filler flowers. And again, always kind of step back. I am gonna have a bow here, and I know that. I will do a little ribbon up here too, so I might not want to put one right here because the ribbon's gonna block it. Let's go up here. Yeah, I like that. Okay, next up we have these little guys. These are fun. It just kind of adds another shade of pink. I'm gonna go down here. Let's do this one kind of up this direction. All right, and then I'm gonna save these for the end because they're kind of like a nice filler with the greenery. So next I'm gonna do ribbon. I've chosen 3. I've got the bright pink polka dot. That's 2.5 inches wide. I'm gonna start with that one at the back. So the bottom bow is gonna be larger than the top bow. So I'm gonna start with the big bow and then make the smaller one to match. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut the end. Kind of hold this up here. Look how fun that is. It adds a lot more pink. I'm just gonna make a couple loops of this one because I don't wanna overpower it. And since this is the widest ribbon I'm using at the 2.5, I don't want to do too much. So I'm going to make a couple loops of that. Leave a nice long tail. Next up, I have this really cute orange buffalo check. I love mixing patterns, but what I really like about this is the orange was the least we had in the mix, and it just adds a little bit more of it in there, and it just looks really nice for summer. And as you can see, this is just a super quick grapevine for summer. Really easy to do. If you wanted to do this in another color bush, like say you have a bush that has blues in it, you can follow all the same techniques as well as adding in the ribbon and get the same results. So we're gonna put the pink and yellow one up here, but we also have a red, orange, and yellow we'll put up here too. You watch the same video, follow all the same techniques, and you'll get the same looking wreath. So with the orange, I just did 2 loops on top. I'm gonna go on and cut this. And lastly, I have this really fun multi-stripe. It is also 1.5 inches, but it's got a really nice pale green background with pink, yellow, and green stripes on it. And I really like that because it ties in so many colors. So I'm gonna lay that right on top. This tail I've got going the opposite way of the orange. The orange one I started down here at the bottom. This one I'm gonna start up here at the top. And I'm just gonna make a couple loops of this one as well. And now that is my larger bow for the bottom. So I'm gonna go on and cut it and tie it onto the wreath. We're gonna put it right here in this gap. So we've got the yellow flower, I've got this pink one kind of coming there. I'm going right here. And if you notice when I put it on there, if there's still some gaps, that's why we saved a few flowers, and we do have a greenery stem to put on there as well, just to help fill it in. So what you want to do is just kind of fluff it around. I always kind of like to bring a flower to the middle, so maybe that pink one kind of can go in the middle. This yellow one can come back forward too. And go on and just cut those tails. That one's really long, so I'm going to leave it nice and long and then curl it up. Bring those flowers back to the front. Now I'm ready to tie my smaller bow up top. So I'm going to do the same 3 ribbons, but I'm not going to loop them all as big. I'm going to make the loop smaller, and this one I'm actually not going to loop at all. So I'm just going to take a piece of this one. It's a little less than a yard. And then on the orange, I'll make loops again, 2 loops, but I'm making them quite a bit smaller just because I don't want it to be out of proportion for how few flowers are up there. So go on and cut that. And then lastly, that little stripe, same thing. Just make 2 loops again, but make them a little bit smaller. And these tails you do want to still leave nice and long, because you can kind of pull them down through the middle of the wreath to fill in. Go on and tie that off. And again, on this one, you can see there's an obvious gap. I've got some grass, but see how there's a big hole right there? That's right where I'm going to go with that bow. Okay, cut those tails. Okay, now I'm ready to move everything around up here too. So same kind of thing. You want to make sure the flowers come to the front, and then your ribbon kind of becomes a background. I'm going to take this tail kind of over here, maybe even to the outside. There we go, and it just looks really pretty. It's nice and airy, but it adds a lot of color with the ribbon. All right, and now I'm ready to add the greenery and the last few little berry stems. So the reason why I did choose to put a greenery in here, I picked this really pretty mixed it's got potato leaves and magnolias, and then it also has some kind of other textured berries, sticks. And the reason I did it is because if you do look, this is greenery, but it doesn't add that thing, that larger piece we need to ground it to the wreath. It's still kind of like open and looks very sparse. So I'm going to cut this into 3 pieces, and it's going to be really obvious where those 3 pieces are when you start to fluff it. So first up, I have this guy. So it's got a little nice mix there. And then when you fluff it again, you're going to see there's 3 really obvious chunks. And what's nice about that is you can do one, you can even cut this one into a 4th, which I'm going to go ahead and do. What's nice about that is you can kind of position them, step back, see where you need some leaves, and then add it. And you have enough to do the top and the bottom, and you just need the 1 stem. So I'm going to start out, I'm going to tuck some back here, kind of stepped back and look, and it looks like a big hole right there. So I'm going to go in there. And as you can see, that just filled in really nicely. Fluff the ribbon to the front of it. I missed cutting a tail there. All right, next up I have this one. I'm going to go up here. Just needs a little bit more kind of coming out from behind the bow by these flowers. Just really fills in. And so I have 2 more. I'm going to do this bigger one kind of down here. Go right in there behind your bow. And then it's all wired, so you can move it all. You can bring the flowers back. But as you can see, look, it added another color of green, and it just really filled it in. And then lastly, I'm going to go up here kind of off to this side. Just behind the bow again. Dunk it in a little hot glue. There we go. Okay, last thing. Add these little guys in. So again, you're just gonna step back. These are a totally different look. So you kind of, I think we definitely need one right there. Just kind of eyeball where you want them, stick them in there. You can always take them back out before you glue. Let's see here. I think we need one up here too. So I'm gonna do both of them up here, kind of by this little piece of ribbon. And then I've got one more. When I step back, I kind of see all ribbon right here. So I'm going to go up into the ribbon, kind of let it hang down a little bit. Right in there. So then it really shows up. So as you can see, this does make a really big wreath. So the frame is only 18 inches, but if you measured from here where it starts at the top down, you're really talking more like 24, 26 inches. It's going to fill in a door really nicely. And what's nice is you can go on shopdeeslouisville.com. You can grab everything I used to create this as a kit, grab you a grapevine, follow along. You can make it at home, do it yourself, be proud, give it as a gift, hang it on your front door, all kinds of stuff. Thanks for watching and stay tuned.